Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about the books that I've been eyeing up this summer. Let's get into it. I'm currently just out of the shower, hence why my hair is wet and I've got a headband in. And I'm also in the kitchen because it's where I can get the best light, so just go with it. Let's start with the current book that I'm reading just now. It is Sparrow by James Hines. It is a historical fiction novel set in the last days of the Roman Empire and follows the story of a boy called Sparrow as he's raised in a brothel. I'm struggling reading this, to be honest. When I read the blurb of this, it really intrigued me. You know, I'm a historical fiction buff. It just feels like it's one of these books that's going, this happens, and then this happened, and this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and it follows so one after the other, after the other, after the other, and I'm like 200 pages in, and nothing has really happened. Nothing of significance has taken place. And I'm kind of left being like, okay, so we've world builded for 200 pages. Give me something. Do you know what I mean? And I keep waiting for something to happen and nothing's happened yet. And so it's making me really slowly read it. There's no audiobook available of it yet on my app that I'm using, Libby. So I'm kind of just left to like pick it up when, and this is my problem. It's like when I find a book that gets a little bit boring or slow or is slow paced, because I can only feel like I read one book at a time, I just end up taking forever to finish it and then I don't read loads of other books. Maybe I need to be that kind of person that can pick up a book and also read another book at the same time and kind of like dip between the two. But then I just feel like I would never ever finish any books and it would drive me absolutely insane. Like the one thing I love about reading is being able to like say I finished something and then be done, because there is not many things in my life that I do that with. But I am going to persevere with it. I hope that something is going to happen. If anything, it's definitely a lesson to me in when reading and being like, okay, I saw a video actually of a writer saying that if you get rid of this, like following this idea of saying, and then, and instead like replacing that with something happened, therefore, I forget what the last bit of it is, but if there has to be action in it, otherwise you're going to be bored, and that's certainly what I am with this. Okay, so the number one book that I am actually so excited to read is a book called Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. It has just won the prize for Best Women's Fiction 2023, and I have actually seen this book kind of advertised a bit before and never really thought of anything of it. I don't love the original like hardback cover for it. It didn't really grab my eye, but having since learned about what the book is about, reading the blurb, I'm like, wait, this is the exact kind of book that I absolutely love. Yeah, it's basically set amid the poverty and opioid addiction crisis in Appalachia, and kind of like follows the story of this boy and how he deals through child poverty, drug addiction, all this sort of stuff. Like 80 pages in, I've been listening to it and like you can hear the author's voice so clearly, and it's already like, compared to Sparrow that I'm reading just now, I've already been like, I'm just taken there straight away, and it's happening so fast, it's so fast paced. Let me just read this. In a plot that never pauses for breath, relayed in his own unsparing voice, he braves the modern perils of foster care, child labour, derelict schools, athletic success, addiction, disastrous loves, and crushing losses. Through all of it, he reckons with his own invisibility in a popular culture where even the superheroes have abandoned rural people in favour of cities. Oh! Give it to me. That just sounds like perfect. Yeah, if you have been seeing this book about and you've like haven't picked it up yet, pick it up, have a look, because I think it's going to be one of my like top books of the year. Next up on that list is a book that has so much hype about it that I'm actually a little bit scared to read it, because whenever I read a book that has so much hype about it, I always end up hating it. That book is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Yes, R.F. Kuang. I have not read Babel yet either, and I've still been meaning to pick that up and read it. I know it's quite a polarizing book. Some people love it, some people hate it. By the sounds of the blurb, is something that I just would never pick up and want to read. However, I feel like I'm like having to, because it is being talked about so much. Let me read you the blurb. Athena is a literary darling and June Hayward is literally nobody. When Athena dies in a freak accident, June steals her unpublished manuscript and publishes it as her own under the ambiguous name Juniper Song. But as evidence threatens June's stolen success, she will discover exactly how far she will go to keep what she thinks she deserves. Deadly consequences. What happens next is entirely everyone else's fault. To be fair, that does sound quite gripping. Like, it does sound quite fun, and I've heard that it's like very satirical, lots of like dark humor in it. Apparently, lots of the publishing world really relate to it a lot, and I guess the publishing world is actually something I am quite interested in. So maybe I might actually enjoy it. Also, I think the cover and the marketing for this book has just been like top notch. I would say on par with the kind of like Barbie movie that's coming out now. Like, in the book world, this has had the same sort of treatment, and I'm here for it. Okay, next up on the list is a book that is so widely known and talked about that I feel like I need to read. The author is one of the great modern American novelists. That is Toni Morrison, and for ages now I've been meaning to like read one of her books. Lots of people have lots of different opinions as to where to start with it. I am being drawn to Beloved, so I think that's the one I'm going to be going for. I know very little about it. I know a little bit of the blurb, which I'll read just now, in case you don't know what it is about. It sounds heavy and harrowing and difficult, but I also, it won the Pulitzer Prize and is like one of the most famous modern books like of our time. So I have to read it because I'm sure it's going to be just magnificent. Sethe is now miles away from Sweet Home, the farm where she was kept as a slave for many years. Unable to forget the unspeakable horrors that took place there, Sethe is haunted by the violent spectre of her dead child, the daughter who died nameless and whose tombstone is etched with a single word: beloved. A tale of brutality, horror, and above all, love at any cost. Beloved is Toni Morrison's enduring masterpiece and best known work. I think this is actually one of those banned books in half of the states in America. I wonder why. It doesn't even look like it's that long a book. I think it's it's 384 pages. I know it sounds heavy and tough, but sometimes I just love picking up one of those books that is known as a masterpiece because I just know that I'm going to just fall in love with it. I like to sort of like sprinkle them in between my ventures in reading. So yeah, I'm excited to tick this author off my list. I'm sure I will want to read many others. So if there's other ones after Beloved that I should read, comment below and let me know. Okay, the next book that I'm going to talk about is a book that has been catching my attention because I've actually been listening to this podcast on Spotify called American History Tellers, and I've been listening to basically 7 whole episodes all about the Civil War, which I just find fascinating. There's something about American history I'm just drawn to, and so I think this book in particular is going to be a perfect choice for me. It is Booth by Karen Joyne Fowler. Booth tells a story of the brilliant and disastrously ill-fated Booth family. Junius is the patriarch, a celebrated Shakespearean actor who fled bigamy charges in England, both a mesmerising talent and a man of terrifying instability. As his children grow up in a remote farmstead in 1820s rural Baltimore, the country draws ever closer to the boiling point of succession and civil war. Of the 6 Booth siblings who survive to adulthood, each has their own dreams they must fight to realise, but it is Johnny who makes the terrible decision that will change the course of history: the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Booth is a riveting novel focused on the very things that bind and break a family. Yes, that sounds so good. I've seen mixed reviews on this. I feel like if you're not a history buff and not into things like this, I guess this is probably not going to be your type of novel. But I think because I'm just so obsessed with everything to do with America and history, this is going to be good for me. And a great sort of like escapism read during the summer. Also, if you're wondering why I'm wearing like the thickest jumper ever in summer in London, is because it's grey outside and not even warm. So that's why. And the final book that is on my list that I've been eyeing up this summer is a book that kind of is terrifying me already. And I feel like I just need a week of doing nothing but being sat, I don't know, in a vineyard somewhere, or like in a French chateau or something, and just purely to read this book, because otherwise I feel like I will never get it finished. It is a book called The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese, I think. I'm sure you'll have seen it. Oprah will not stop talking about it on her book channel. It's 700 and something pages long, which I don't think I've read a book as long as that, maybe apart from A Little Life. So it's a little bit daunting, but I feel like usually when Oprah will obviously recommend lots of books every single month, every month, but when she really goes like in about a book, that's when I'm like, okay, I definitely need to read this one, because she will not stop talking about how much of a masterpiece it is. It kind of scares me as well, because it says it spans between the year 1900 and 1977. I'm not a huge lover of books that span over great amounts of time. That usually is my first I don't know, we'll see. Basically, yeah. Spanning the years 1900 to 1977, The Covenant of Water follows a family in southern India that suffers a peculiar affliction. In every generation, at least one person dies by drowning. And in Kerala, water is everywhere. At the turn of a century, a 12-year-old girl grieving the death of her father is sent by boat to her wedding, where she will meet her 40-year-old husband for the first time. From this poignant beginning, the young girl and future matriarch, known as Big Amahi, will witness unthinkable changes at home and at large over the span of her extraordinary life, full of the joys and trials of love and the struggles of hardship. It sounds like it could be absolutely brilliant. Again, is it a book that I would pick up, and if I hadn't heard the hype about it, would I be interested in it? I'm not sure. But yeah, this might be one of those books where I do like a reading diary for a week and read like 100 pages a day and just like get it done, because otherwise I feel like I will never ever finish it. So if that sounds like a good idea and something you want to see, just let me know. Yeah, those are the books that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for this summer. Hopefully I will get round to reading all of them. If you haven't done so already, please click that subscribe button. It helps massively. And also comment below on any books you're keeping an eye out for summer as well. Until next time, happy reading.